When I read this chapter for the first time, I was so relieved to find I wasn't crazy for needing support and safety. Literally, the first sentence of this chapter is, one of our chief needs as a creative being is support. Unfortunately, we live in a society that often makes young and aspiring artists feel as if they are weak, foolish, or even selfish for indulging in creative practice that honors their dreams. This is one of the reasons I didn't even know I could draw until I was 33 years old. I was what Julia Cameron describes as a shadow artist, filled with as much bitterness and regret over my abandoned dreams as I was filled with good taste and a critical eye. I knew what I liked, and I felt totally ineffectual at carrying it out in practice. I still need a ton of practice to get where I want to be, but I now have the confidence that it just takes time and relaxation and practice to achieve pretty much anything you want. I shouldn't be surprised. All of my parents were shadow artists too. All three of them abandoned their dreams one way or another, and probably wanted to save me the heartache of even having a dream to begin with. My father played bass, but abandoned it when he found a more lucrative career. My mom wanted to be a fashion designer, but didn't have the benefit of books like Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, so she ended up a production manager, executing other people's designs. My stepdad played guitar, but sold it when paying the bills got tough, and he wore the abandonment of his dreams like some kind of badge of honor, I guess. It can be very scary to place your dream at the center of your life, because it often asks you to give up a lot. I would know. But all I know is that I can't take it anymore, living with the nagging feeling that I never really even tried. This chapter is about taking yourself seriously and guarding your work and your young ego, or as Julia Cameron calls it, your artist child, from abuse. Your inner artist is like a baby that you have to nurture. So, as someone who used to work with special needs children, I started to look at my interactions I was having in my community as if I was trying to teach my clients how to survive, how to advocate for themselves, and protect their feelings. I started to ask myself, what would I think if I heard this person say to a child what they're saying to me right now? Would I treat a child the way they're treating me right now? Would you treat a child like as much of an inconvenience as these people are treating you right now? And the answer was almost always, absolutely not. So, I learned how to nurture myself, gradually. One of my favorite lines in this chapter is, who wouldn't be artistically blocked if every time you tiptoed into the open, someone made fun of you? And it's true. I used to know a couple of guys who had an ongoing game in which they would hurl objects at each other's crotches and try to catch each other off guard. It was funny at times, but on occasion, an artistic community can take this kind of dynamic to the extreme. It clearly wasn't the right environment for me to nurture my young inner artist child after years of being discouraged from doing what I really wanted to do. But I was delighted to find that there are nurturing communities everywhere. I took classes at the community college. I found live jams. I found lots of welcoming communities when I stepped outside of my comfort zones. Healing the wound of shadow artists takes time. And the most damage was done when I was pushed to go faster than I was able. If you're familiar with the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, progress is always the goal, not perfection. You're only competing with yourself, trying to get better than you were the day before. That's all. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else in your environment. Creativity is supposed to be a marathon, not a sprint. And we're supposed to be playing, not competing to be the best. This kind of competition is a form of what Julia Cameron calls artist abuse. There are going to be lots of times when your creations don't look good, and that's okay. That is part of the process and the journey. Your creations are still your children, and that means while you're still learning how to hone your skills, you protect your creations and your inner artist child from undue abuse. Eventually, you will learn how to develop your creations with a critical eye, But for now, the most important thing is to be fearless and vulnerable. This can be difficult as our culture tends to only encourage creativity in youth and discourages those who don't show an immediate knack for a creative skill. This is totally stupid because it misses the point that art is a valid and necessary skill for everyone, and it devalues the role of effort and persistence, which are so important when getting good at a skill. Art has inherent value just from doing it, regardless of whether you're good at it or not. And some people aren't good at it immediately. I think we all owe it to ourselves to find the joy in doing what we love, even if we're bad at it at first. And you owe it to yourself not to judge yourself for being bad at art at first. Van Gogh didn't start painting until he was 27, and his career only lasted 10 years. But he's become such a household name that I don't know anyone who wouldn't recognize one of his pieces. You shouldn't judge or censor anything you make at first, and don't tolerate anyone else doing it either. When you create without concern for ridicule, you open yourself up to expansive change. You listen to what you want, go after it, and you will be surprised at what you accomplish. If you're keeping up with your morning pages, please share anything interesting that you discovered this week while writing them. I would love to hear it. If you went on your artist date, please share what you did. I checked out a new music store in my town and was stoked to find some amplifiers at a deep discount. If you haven't gotten a copy of The Artist Way, you can check the link in the description for bookshop.org. I can't wait to hear from you guys and hear about what you learned, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.